Okay, now let's talk a little bit about another very interesting kind of zero downtime release strategy, which is called canary releasing. You may have heard this illusion like a canary in a coal mine. If you have not heard it, you may have heard this like a canary in a coal mine, like a canary in a coal mine. We use this illusion to symbolize some sort of a sacrificial lamb, something that is sacrificed so that some bigger cause can be saved for a bigger cause. It's based on an old incident, right? Canaries are very tiny yellow birds that are domesticated. In the olden days, when miners used to go underground into coal mines, they would carry their pet canaries with them. You might think that these miners are all very wonderful people. They're carrying the canaries with them, so they must be really nice people, right? They love their pets so much, but it's actually quite the opposite. These miners, they work in very hostile environments. They work in environments where there is a potential of poisonous gases, right? Mines, as you know, can hold potential death traps, right? They are potential death traps because when they break a rock, poisonous gases that were trapped in historical times within these rocks might come out, like methane and carbon monoxide. They might come out, and given that these mines are closed environments, there's a high possibility that these miners could die of these poisonous gases. But since they have their little canaries with them, and canaries being small animals, in the presence of poisonous gases, these canaries would die first, and the miners will know that there is something wrong. When they find their canaries dead, they will know that there is something wrong in the environment, and then obviously they'll escape, leaving the poor dead canary there. This whole story is pretty much the whole idea behind canary releasing, and hence the name too. In canary release, the software is released to a small group of people, just like the miners exposing the potential danger to the canary first, right? The canary is smaller, the danger is being exposed to the canary first, and in case something goes wrong, the newly released software, if in case something goes wrong in the newly released software, it affects only that small group of people. Like this illustration clearly shows it. You have the latest version of your software, and then you also have a stable version of your software. The stable version is made available to majority of users. Most people who request for this service will be routed to the stable version of the software, while a select few users, which who could be power users, they could be volunteers, they may have volunteered into this program, whatever it is, they are given access to the latest version of the software. But this latest version of the software may not be a stable version. As we said, in the case of blue-green testing, the latest version may not be the stable version. We will deploy the latest version in an environment again that is probably as close to production. Sometimes it could be the production itself, depending on our financial backing. We will deploy it either into an environment that is exactly same as production, or sometimes it will be slightly different from production. But anyway, the users will be routed, only a few users will be routed to the latest version of the software. So what is the advantage of this one? You see, in case of a failure, in case the latest version fails, it affects only that small group of people, and then we have to migrate the data and all the other things of only these select few users. While the majority of users are safe here, they are safe. They're using the stable version of the software. When the latest version fails, the canary audience, right? The people, the canaries, you could call them. The canaries are also now routed to the stable version while we fix the latest version. And once it's fixed, we will redeploy it again in this yellow environment, and we'll make a canary release again. And then the power users or the volunteers, they can use the canary release again. Uh, Over a period of time, the canary release will obviously be will become a lot better. With more testing, it will become a lot better, and then it will finally become a stable version. And when it becomes a stable version, we make the latest version available to everybody. There is no more a canary audience. They all become the same. the latest version will now be made available to all users, right? This is how Canary releases work. It's not exactly how it works, but yeah, this is the idea behind Canary releasing. So what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of Canary releasing? Obviously, the biggest advantage is zero downtime, and then there is always, as we mentioned in case of blue-green testing, you can test blue-green deployment, you can test the product in production, right? This environment, even though it is not used by everybody, it is still an environment that is very close to production, right? It will be almost same as production. um, I hope you remember that in blue-green testing, blue-green deployment, we did say that we would have two environments. They would be exactly same. Here also, this environment would be exactly same. But still, this would not be always in active. This will not be something that we are using for production, right? This is not the environment where we will finally release the latest version of the software. The latest version of the software will be, I mean, the stable version of the software, which is accessible to everybody, will be released in this environment, the actual production environment. This is an environment that is very close to production, but it may not be exactly same as production. It is still a test environment, right? It is still a test environment. This could be the same environment that we use for capacity testing also, right? Is that clear? We did say that for capacity testing, we use an environment that is very close to production. So with Canary releases, we can just reuse that capacity testing environment so that we can save money. We don't establish two separate environments. We use the same environment that we use for capacity testing here also for Canary releases, and thereby we can save a lot of money. This wouldn't be possible in case of blue-green deployment, because blue-green deployment requires two separate environments, because both of them will be used by everybody. I hope you remember that everybody uses the blue and also the green environment. When the blue is ready, everybody uses blue. When the blue fails, we move over to green. But here that is not the case. Here only a few people who know about Canary releasing, who know that this is not a stable version, are asked to work on it, and thereby we don't need the exact production environment. We can just reuse the capacity testing environment again. Although I say that it's not the same as production environment, it is very close to production. It will be very close to production, right? Okay. So what are the disadvantages? Like we said in the last in the last case, user installed app, it's quite difficult to have Canary releasing possible. Of course, we can just give the Canary release to a few people and ask them to install it, and then we can collect the usage data. But other than that, it does propose a small threat that we cannot, in case of failed deployments, we cannot make them go into the stable version. All that would be difficult. So with user installed apps, again, Canary release is not that easy. Same with database issues. It is exactly the same as what we discussed in the last section on blue-green deployment and shared resources. Right? Of course, Canary releases are not meant to be permanent releases. They're not meant to be permanent at all. With blue-green deployment, the latest could ultimately become the latest version of the software along with the environment could actually become the final version. But here, the environment will never become the final environment. The latest version, if it is working properly, we will deploy it in the proper production environment, right? So here in this case, how do we deal with shared resources? If there's a failure in deployment, how do we deal with shared resources, right? So that is it about Canary releasing. Now we move on to the next section.